The Barkscrolls, a chronicle of New Faery, based on real people, places, and events. The Dance of Courts, Saturday, Chestnut Moon the 9th, 2019. Guests mingled the hall, using their cell phones, which they often referred to as magic mirrors, to snap selfies and iconographs. It wasn't that the enchanted folk didn't know the modern terms for the technology they used, but rather that they preferred to use their own terminology to refer to items of modernity as a way of both flagging their true nature to one another, as well as keeping the connection to the folk and tales of yore alive, past and present. A subtle reminder that magic was always in the world if you knew how to look for it. On this night, every fae looked especially formal and wonderful. Lady Ashlanera's golden wings and skirt glowed against the ashen, soughing color schemes for the dinner setup. The angry wood elf, as Kira had come to be known, was in a stunning dress with her hair down. Morning Glory was draped in flowing and resplendent bone whites, in contrast to Nettle's black and purple ensemble, which boasted the colors of the Unseelie court. Even Flynn was minding his relative manners. Lifting her fork, Lolly appreciated its heaviness. She despised thin, lightweight silverware. Tapping it to the side of her drinking cup with a dull clunk, she immediately found that she also despised glassware that pretended at being crystal. It was not the delicate call of attention she had hoped for, but it worked, however unceremoniously. As the gathered took their seats, she rose to address them. "Good evening, and welcome to the Dumb Supper. This is the first gathering of this sort that we have convened since the thaw, and I am pleased to see so many new faces. Tonight we shall celebrate those who have gone before with a feast, our traditional changing of the seats of power from Seelie to Unseelie, followed by a rite to honor those names added to the Book of Remembrance." Your Highness," Count Morbid leaned in from her left a little bit. "Since His Majesty isn't here, does that mean I have to dance with you?" His exaggerated affectations brought a low round of snickering from the crowd. "I suppose it does," Lolly breathed in through her nose as Morbid muttered something about Seelie trickery. She continued, "For those of you who have never experienced the Dumb Supper, we shall fill our plates, invite the ancestors to join us at their symbolic seat here at the head of the table, and, at the clunking of the glass, eat the first portion of our meal in silence. It is during this time that you are asked to focus your attention on the flavors of your food, the taste of your drink. Experience them mindfully, for tonight the veil between worlds is thin, and they shall share in our feast vicariously." At the second ringing of the glass, the silence is lifted, and you may speak freely once more. Resuming her seat, she handed her plate to Baron Hammerhands, as those gathered set a course through the buffet. There was caprese salad, coffee, tea, a selection of fruits, cheeses, and meats, all quite small and bite-sized. Eventually, all were reseated, and their silent dining commenced at the tap of fork on glass. Only the light sounds of silverware tapping against ceramic plateware, breathing, and eating were heard. Even the gas fire in the hearth, burning harmlessly around the enchanted black skull that it had been decorated with, was quiet. In years of yore, at least the crackle and pop of pitch and wood would be heard. It never failed to fascinate how the world changed, yet stayed the same. What were the others thinking of right now? Was it the time before long winter? Loved ones? Pets gone over the Bifrost Bridge? Comrades in arms? Famous icons whose art, music, and work may have profoundly touched them? After a spell, Lolly tapped her glass once more, and the silence slowly lifted, dinner conversation ensuing. It was a light meal, and soon the guests were up and mingling, perusing the selection of enchanted items that had been donated to the Dross auction. Famous Dana and Drina had done quite a bang-up job of collecting a wide selection of art, wearables, games, and other tools of the magical trade. From time to time, someone would approach the main table and write a name in the Book of Remembrance. It was an impressive 800-paged thing that had been hand-bound by the princess herself. An old friend had completed the massive tome's cover, sculpting upon it with shriveled, fleshy texture, claw-like corners, and a weathered animal skull secured to the front. It was a relic of her time from the time before, that she had never once used, but knew, the instant that such a book was needed for the dumb supper, that this should be the one. Suddenly, there was a commotion at the end of the table that drew the attention of those around. Nettle the Jackalope knelt before Count Morbid, who looked entirely hopped up on his magical healing potion he called NyQuil. "Can I even do this? I don't recall." He looked over at Lolly. Am I allowed to create knights?" "We are in your duchy, Count Morbid." The mismatch between Count Morbid's name and the fact that he was the gentry over a duchy owed to the fact that, although he had been granted the greater privilege and responsibility, he insisted that he could not possibly change his name to Duke Morbid. It simply didn't sound as creepy as Count, and his reputation may suffer as a result. Okay, I just wanted to be sure." Turning back to the antlered creature before him, he looked around for some manner of sword or wand, and eventually grabbed an arm with a pointed phalange from his skeleton, Frank. "Do you swear to do everything I tell you, or something, and try not to kill me in my sleep? I'm really too sick to think of anything else I should say, so you know what I'm trying to get at." The declaration caused everyone to chuckle, even Nettle, who duly replied, "Yes, I swear fealty to you, Count Morbid, in good faith." "Great," he said in affirmation as he used the arm bone to create an arc over their head and back again. "Then I officially make you my knight." "Wonderful!" Nettle exclaimed, rising from the floor. "I'm probably going to regret this in the morning," Morbid lamented, much to everyone's amusement. No one was quite sure what sort of wheeling and dealing Nettle had engaged in, but it had landed them officially into the second knightly title of the new kingdom. Clever Jackalope, score 1 point for the Unseelie Court. "Does this mean it is time for our official dance, Count Morbid?" Neither the princess nor the count seemed particularly thrilled at this portion of the evening. That was to be expected, but tradition must be observed. "I suppose. Let's get to it." He took a device from his pocket and, with some hazy-headed fiddling, managed to change the music to something more danceable, like the string quartet version of AC/DC's Highway to Hell, one of his favorites. For all his eye-rolling and scoffing at the pomp and circumstance of courtly ways, Count Morbid was well versed in the art of finery and manners. He simply preferred not to hang on formality unless it was really necessary. He held out a hand to Lolly, and together he escorted her to the floor. The Dance of Courts happened but twice a year. It was the official recognition, from one court to the other, of the turning of the light half of the year to the dark, and then back again at Beltane. For all their opposites, they still were a part of the same cycle, and each respected the place of the other in the grand scheme. It was tradition that at celebrations for the two seasonal junctions, the ranking member of each court, Seelie and Unseelie, were to dance with one another as a symbol for the changing over of power from light to dark, and vice versa. A bow, a curtsy, and the two began their dance, arms at full-length distance from one another. To her surprise, Count Morbid stepped right into a waltzing sort of lead. "Why, Count Morbid, you can dance." "Are you surprised?" Before she could answer, it was at this very moment that the Unseelie Count took the opportunity to spin her around and then walk her backwards across the floor, right into the hem of her own skirts. Tripped up in the flowing silver fabric, she stumbled backwards, one arm flailing for balance. Count Morbid made a grab for her as she nearly went down, sprawling in all directions, and managed to keep total disaster from happening. Gathering her skirts and regaining her feet, she straightened herself, cheeks flushed with embarrassment. "Were you trying to kill me?" "At least one of us can dance," said Count Morbid, laughing. Everyone stared on, trying to make sure everyone was okay whilst not outright laughing at the spectacle. Princess Lolly fumed as Count Morbid laughed himself right into a coughing fit and doubled over. Lolly seized the opportunity to pat him on the back. "Are you all right, Morbid?" she said between his hysterical laughs and coughs, patting vigorously. "Yes," he coughed, flailing an arm behind him, but she just kept slapping her palm on his back. "Stop! Stop trying to kill me!" he managed, exasperated. "Oh!" the princess said, and stopped immediately. "My apologies." Slowly, the Count began to regain his breath in heaving sighs and managed to upright himself. He brushed at his shirt. "I can't believe you just tried to kill me. Are we done now?" This time, it was Lolly who was caught between concern and amusement. "Yes, I think that's good enough." "Fine. I'm getting some water." And Morbid made a beeline for his glass at the head table.
Hello friends, this is Gunther Hammerhands. Thank you for checking out Fairy Princess Lolly's channel. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. And if you'd like to support these magical creations, fly over to our Patreon and join the fairy family. Safe travels!